Hey folks, welcome back to the channel. Okay, uh, let's just get this straight off the bat. I don't know what I've done to my wrist, so just ignore it. Um, I'm going to be flailing and my arm is going to hurt and we're just going to have to accept that. But yeah, not the video I expected to give you guys today because I was going to be editing probably my ice skating vlog today. But I just finished this most utterly of all adorable, so cute and wholesome books that is called How to Lose a Goblin in 10 Days. And I just need to gush about it, okay? I just need to gush. I have already gushed a little bit to friends in real life, but I just need to word vomit for a couple of minutes because this is hands down the cutest thing I have read in a very long time. I appreciate it's only the start of February, but already I'm like, this is the best book I've read this year. And I finished Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil this year. And I'm sorry. Both excellent books, both 5-star books, but oh my gosh, I don't know. I needed the super cozy, comforting read. I didn't think I did, but apparently I did. And this was just I'm in love with this book. How to Lose a Goblin in 10 Days. It is not being marketed as fanfiction, which I am very pleased about because too many books get marketed as fanfiction these days. And books should be allowed to stand on their own as their own thing if they are an original piece of work and they are not based on fanfiction. However, with that said, How to Lose a Goblin in 10 Days is absolutely fanfiction. It is Hobbit fanfiction. And you might be thinking, oh my gosh, Hobbit fanfiction, that sounds so cringe, that sounds so terrible. No. It's missing from your life. You do not know you need this in your life, but I promise you, you need it in your life. So what is it? Apart from Hobbit fanfiction. This is an opposite attracts, Grumpy Sunshine, not enemies, but sort of like our two main protagonists who are, antagonistic to friends to lovers. It's absolutely wonderful. We are following Pansy, who is a halfling, or hobbit, and we are following Wren, who is our goblin. Pansy has grown up feeling very othered in her family. Her grandmother was one of those hobbits who was essentially picked up by the wizard and taken off on an adventure and then returned to the town and looked down upon. And Pansy has always wanted, maybe not quite to be an adventurer, but she's just always wanted a bit more from her life. And she's never outright been told she's not welcome, but she has very much been made to feel not welcome and, lacking. Because why isn't she content to just settle in the village and do the same thing that everyone has ever done? Very much leaning into that hobbit stereotype. And then we've got Wren, who is a goblin. Wren takes on a lot of responsibility, but Wren, there are more grumpy character. They are pretty much, they've kind of taken on the role of being sort of like the food supplier, that they do all the gardening, and they're the first one to give something up for someone else. So for the last couple of decades or so, the goblins have been sort of like living and have taken occupancy of Pansy's grandmother's cottage, which is it's a hobbit hole essentially, but we call it a burrow. Pansy, who is now a bit more grown up, she's decided her grandmother has just passed away. She's just inherited the cottage, and Pansy's like, this is my opportunity. I can get out of the town. She can still visit the town, but she's like, but I can get away. I can go live on my own and I can go be who I am. So Pansy turns up at the cottage and is like, oh, the garden's in surprisingly good condition. Puts the key in, it's like, oh, the door's unlocked. Doesn't think anything of it. Walks in, is like, huh, the cottage is in surprisingly good condition considering it's been, empty for the last 2 decades. Her grandmother, it's never outright said, but I think it's essentially developed dementia and has been living with Pansy and her parents for the last wee while, which is why the cottage has been empty. The cottage obviously has not been empty for 20 years because the goblins have been taking care of it and utilising it. They saw something that was empty and abandoned and went, we can make good use of that. And that's what's happened. Ren is the current caretaker. They only moved in a day or 2 ago. This is a very new a new arrangement for Ren. So we basically got our halfling and our goblin moving in at essentially the same time. And immediately the sparks start flying because what the heck, Pansy's like, why the heck are you in my grandmother's cottage? Get out, this is my cottage, it was left to me and her will. This is my home. And Pansy's like, mate, please, goblins have been taking care of this for like 20 odd years. By default, this is ours. I'm not moving. Neither of them want to leave, so they make a deal. Whoever can drive the other out first wins. Whoever leaves first forfeits the cottage. It's great. Naturally, they don't stay that antagonistic for very long. It's pretty much attraction at first sight. From pretty much the get-go, they're like, she's so annoying, but damn, her hair's really pretty. And it's just, when you see their thought processes, because we're getting POV chapters from both of them, it was just... The point of this video is that I talk to you about this book and I talk to you about my feelings about this book, but my feelings pretty much consist of just, yeah! It's so cute. It is honestly adorable. I think the character work for me personally was just really, really well done. It wasn't like very over the top. I'm not saying they were like the best characters, okay? It wasn't Robin Hobb level of character work, but for the book that it suited them so incredibly well. Ren and Pansy both felt like very unique characters. They were very individual. They didn't feel like cardboard cutouts. Some of the side characters maybe a little bit, but we spent so little time with them because we are very focused on Pansy and Ren. They don't need to be more than just, they don't need a huge amount of development. Although I'm just saying, spin-off book with Pansy's friends and Ren's cousin would be, it's there, the setup is there, we got this, it's fine. If this author wants to write more, and I really, really hope she does, I'm going to be first in line pre-ordering. But yeah, they're just utterly adorable. The squabbling and the banter does continue, even when, I guess the point is like, beyond, after sort of like the first couple of the days, they very, very quickly just stop actively trying to push the other out, because I think they kind of realize, even if they don't want to admit to themselves or anyone else, that's like, actually this is kind of working out. Pansy sort of takes over doing all of the cooking, Ren is the one doing all the gardening. And what's really nice is it explores, as they sort of like calm down and start learning a bit more about each other, they start learning a bit more about each other's culture and where they're from, because hobbits, halflings and goblins have almost like, as a society, as a people, have always been quite close and nearby. They've just never liked each other. And so they've never really taken the time to get to know each other. But now we're seeing them get to know each other, and we're seeing them make all of the faux pas. Bless her heart, Pansy in particular, she's quite a clumsy character, and not necessarily physically, but she's just so, in her naivety and her enthusiasm, she will put her foot in her mouth so often, so quickly. But she's also really good at taking a bit of correction. And by that I mean she's willing to be educated. If she sees that she has visibly hurt you, including her goblin, who, she wants out of her cottage, she is immediately going to feel terrible about that and go, okay, wait. I didn't think what I said was offensive there, so explain to me why it is. And with that explanation and that understanding, I will know not to do it again. And I'll know why it was offensive, so I will know, not just this, but I know not to do like similar or connected things. So I really, really enjoyed that exploring of them getting to know each other and getting to know their cultures and the differences and getting over their prejudices. It's just absolutely wonderful. What else do I want to say about this? Have I told you it was really cute and adorable? Have I? I don't know if I've drilled that in because I'm going to be thinking about this book for quite some time. Food. Do not read this book whilst you are hungry. You will want snacks. This in very much the author took her inspiration. This is another part of why I'm like, this is kind of Hobbit fan fiction. Halflings have breakfast. They have 7 breakfasts. They have 11s. They are constantly eating. It's a theme throughout it. One of the goblin stereotypes and prejudices that they have against halflings is that they see halflings as over-consuming and very gluttonous. A huge part of that is because they themselves have so little. So one of the first things that happens in the cottage is when they've made it like a secondary bet of who gets to control the kitchen. Pansy has to make a salad using goblin ingredients, and if it works out and it is delicious, then Ren has to concede domain of the kitchen to Ren. And yeah, of course the salad is absolutely incredible because Ren is an excellent cook and baker. But despite the fact that she's loving the salad, she's really enjoying it, it's one of the best things she's ever tasted. They at the back of their mind, or quite prominently in their mind, for every bite they're eating, Ren is like, she used so much ingredients. Ren was only going to make a simple salad with 2 or 3 ingredients, and then Pansy comes along and is like, all of the ingredients. Because as a halfling, she's never gone without. She's never had to do that. I think it's safe to say that I think the most character growth is on Pansy's part, which is not to say Ren doesn't have any, but Pansy, I think because Ren comes from a position of responsibility where Pansy just comes from sort of like, she comes from a very sheltered background, as much as, she's not fitting in her town, and has been made to feel very unwelcome. Pansy has a lot more growing up to do. So, yeah, she does get, in my opinion, I think she has like the more prominent growth arc. Yeah. Do I recommend you read this book? If that's not obvious, then yes, I do. I really recommend you read this. I guess I don't want to say negative things about this book, but I guess a couple of caveats. Don't go in expecting really deep thought-provoking, although I think it is definitely a thought-provoking book in its own way. It's not a subtle book. It's not, it's not there to really get those cogs thinking. I'm not saying it's doing its thinking, your thinking for you, But, you know, if you've had like a really crappy date, it is a really easy popcorn read. Yeah, if you're not a fan of cozy fantasy or cozy romance or cozy fantasy romance, you might not like this. You probably won't. If you are a fan of any of those things, you're going to love this because it's exactly what it is. Personally, for me, it did everything it said it was going to. It was everything it said on the tin. It promised me a cozy, fun, lighthearted time, and that's what I got. It's just that, you know, cozy, fun, lighthearted times can have good themes too. Sorry, my WhatsApp is pinging at the top of my phone and I'm nosy. What else? Yeah. I don't know, I think I'm like 15 minutes in and I'm finally running out of steam. I just needed to gush and ramble, and I know this is not like the most structured and coherent, but I just needed to gush and ramble, and so thank you for giving me the opportunity to do that. And yeah, I will see you guys in the next video, which will either be my ice skating vlog, because I went to the European Championships to watch, it was incredible, or my January wrap up, probably more likely my January wrap up. You can get the ice skating vlog whenever you get it. And yeah, in the meantime, like if you like this, I guess, subscribe if you want to, and I will chat to you guys later. Bye!